Hello everyone, this is Jennie Bharaj and you are watching my weekly segment on news and insight in the gaming industry. Now, this week's video is derived from a book co-written by John Festinger, a lawyer and a faculty member at the Center for Digital Media and the University of British Columbia. The book's title is Video Game Law. And if you're interested in hearing more about his perspective on this week's topic, click here to check out Base Gamer's interview with John Festinger. As the media evolves, whether it's movies or television or, in this case, video games, the challenges for its freedom of speech become more increasing. For example, 1997's Fallout 1 probably has more grotesque scenes than a lot of newly released games in the present. So when video games were considered more of a niche hobby and when graphics were not as great as they are today, the controversies involving video games weren't really a hot topic. But it's not just violence in video games that has heads turning and critics complaining. Misogyny in video games have also become quite the hot topic. In 1981, Roberta Williams, perhaps one of the most prominent female game developers in video game history, especially for her work in King's Quest, helped develop a game called Soft Porn Adventure, where the protagonist basically tries to sleep with as many women as possible. But even though the game is quite raunchy, it was the cover of the game that was the most scandalous of all. On the cover, Roberta Williams as well as a few other developers posed topless in a hot tub. Even though the cover received a lot of hate mail and became very notorious, it still boosted up sales and was not censored. However, because misogyny has become incredibly controversial, a cover like that would most likely be censored in today's day and age. But it's not just misogyny and violence that are the most controversial subjects in the video game industry. Now, racism is as well. For example, when EA caved under pressure and had to rename the Taliban in Medal of Honor as the opposing force. Or when Take-Two Interactive took out offensive references to Haitians in GTA Vice City. We're beginning to see a lot of elements in video games become eliminated due to controversies. But why is censorship considered a solution rather than education or understanding? Well, a study showed that media critics who are advocates of censorship usually don't trust their neighbor to understand what is right and what is wrong. This, in my opinion, sounds awfully rude to consider other members of society to be less intelligent than you are. But despite all of this, video games are still protected under freedom of speech, meaning that they're able to express any feelings or emotions that they desire. It's also good to point out that a lot of video game critics who are advocates of censorship usually want to censor things in video games that are allowed in other media forms. But what do you think? Are video games truly free? A lot of people would say yes, because under law, video games are an act of freedom of speech. Others would say no, due to public pressure that video games are receiving in this day and age. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys all next week. Cheers and keep on gaming.